You're gonna have to find yourself another best friend somehow.
Whoop FM is a non-profit community radio station that is made possible by generous donations by individuals and the following sponsors.
Guns, guns, and more guns. That's right, folks. U.S. Money Shops has just received a large shipment of pre-owned Glock 22s, 23s, and the awesome Beretta 8040D Cougar. These guns are law enforcement trade-ins that start at just $379.99 while supplies last. At U.S. Money Shops, there's no shortage of guns, so if you're looking for a great deal on a newer pre-owned gun, then check us out first.
Buy or sell or buy today, the better way at U.S. Money Shops.
Visit usmoneyshops.com for the location nearest you.
If you need a little green, Lending Frog is making deals. He'll lend you cash on any kind of wheels. Borrow just a little, or you can borrow big. Lending Frog is a new financial gig. It's hip to hop into cash. LendingFrog.com is making a splash. Dig it, dig it. Dig it, dig it.
You are listening to WOOP-LP, Cleveland, Tennessee. Whoop FM is a broadcasting service of the Traditional Music Resource Center, and we play America's original music.
Where'd the old town go? They moved it all north of here in the shopping mall.
Good morning and welcome to Old Town Cleveland here on Whoop FM 99.9, or you can go to the internet at www.whoopfm.com. About to lose my voice.
Oh.
You can call us here at 614-5553. Debbie Moore, tell me what's going on while I try to get my voice back.
Good morning. It is May the 9th, 2015, and we have to say congratulations to all the Cleveland High graduates last night. And Bradley's graduation's going on as we speak. We saw the traffic jam from it.
Walker Valley was Thursday?
I don't know.
I believe.
But congratulations to Walker Valley, too. So I guess we've gotten everybody graduated. I know Cleveland State's graduating some today, and I don't know about Lee either, but we have a lot of folks graduating here.
Your nephew's son graduates today.
Yes.
Corey.
Both of them. One from Cleveland State and one from Bradley.
Yeah.
So congratulations to them.
Well, that doesn't mean that Jason gets it off cheaper. They just go on to bigger things.
They go on to bigger, more expensive things. That's
more
right.
expensive college now. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, tell us what's going on, Deb.
Nothing much. We had Cleveland Speedway running last night. They've started their 61st year, and they're going to be running every Friday night. And we ask everybody to go down and at least visit them once, help them out a little bit. They had a nice crowd last night, and I was looking at the lineup of cars. They had several cars running in each race, which always makes it more fun and exciting. And nothing much has changed about dirt track racing. I think that's what I like about it, except the cars look a little different. Ron and I are from the heavy metal days. We like those big old heavy 1955 Chevys that used to run, but the cars today are fun to watch too.
And also Mountain Cove was on ACTV the other day, and which was called Made in America from the Mountain Opry, and they talked about bluegrass music and how important it was to save it, and was a great example of what's right with America and Tennessee and bringing back bluegrass. And they also talked about Mimo's in Chattanooga, and at Mimo's down on Martin Luther King Boulevard, you can get chopped wieners. That's what they're famous for. I'm going down to try to find out about chopped wieners on Martin Luther King Boulevard. Mimo's is the name of it.
Oh, Ron, before we get started here, will you tell everybody about the restaurant exhibit that's coming to the Museum Center?
Yes, the museum is going to go back and do a special exhibit about the old restaurants used to be here in the town. the original spot, the Grand Lunch,
Rosie Dunn's.
Yeah, or Snack House number 2, the Country Kitchen down on South Lee Highway, where you get all the chicken you could eat for $1. They're going to do Dooley's ice cream. Also, is going to be included in this exhibit. And so, if you have items, menus from those eras, or if you have stories, or have
Furniture.
Glasses, spoons, anything that has their name on it, we'd like to see that in the exhibit. You can contact Sam down at the Museum Center. I don't have the number, but there are phone books available everywhere in Cleveland.
They're open Tuesday through Saturday at the Museum Center, and Sam or someone there would talk to you about whatever you take down there. They're looking especially for some big items.
Yeah, it's end of July, and I know some of the items they've already found. It's pretty impressive already, but if you have something, an old plate or photographs, menus would be really great from the Grand Lunch, and Grand Lunch is one of those places that you walked in and ordered. They give you the food. Man, it was just quick. Boom. I think somebody grabbed a handful of potatoes and put it in your plate.
You think so?
It seemed it was pretty darn quick. I mean, they were there. So,
well, we have some old friends and a new friend here today. We've got Bird Dog and JR's girls with us this morning. And they brought along their friend and neighbor, James Kelly. Mr. Kelly started his life down in the Black Fox community and then moved to Tasso later and has a lot of great stories. And so you folks are really going to enjoy this today. So be sure to stay with us. How's everybody doing this morning?
Doing good.
Okay. You got to speak up because this is radio. They can't see us.
Can't shake your head today.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
And the answer is never yes. You just got to be yes and then something else. You got to give big stories.
And you can't shake your head either.
No, shaking head doesn't work very well either.
And you can lie here. It's okay. You can't lie?
No, shouldn't.
Well,
Shouldn't.
You can embellish. How's that? You can embellish things.
You can make it
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Kelly, you were born in the Black Fox community. Who were your parents?
No, you got that wrong.
Okay.
I wasn't.
I've been
born
wrong
in the Black
before.
Fox
Where were you born? Where
I
were you
was
born?
above Tasso,
Oh, okay.
between Tasso and Charleston.
There you go.
It's 3 miles from Tasso and about 3 miles from Charleston. And a big yellow house that used to be a sleeping room for the people on the train. And Daddy bought the farm with the house on it, and it was a big house, and we lived in it.
How old do you think that house was?
Well, at the time, I guess it's probably about 10 years old.
Okay, so it wasn't
or more.
Yeah.
Whenever we lived in it.
Mm-hmm.
But he bought it from the, I don't know who he bought it from, just to tell you the truth about it. The party he bought it from, whether it was the railroad or somebody else that had bought it from the railroad. But it used to be kind of a sleeping place for the people to get off the train down there. There was a sidetrack down there.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's not down there now.
So what's close to that now so I would know about where you're talking about? Is there anything close to that now?
You know where Old Charleston Road is?
Yes, I do.
Well, you know that real steep hill you go up kind of on the north end of it?
Mm-hmm.
Around that curve?
Yes.
And a real steep hill there.
Yes.
Right at the top of that hill. That's where I was born at.
Okay.
Right at the top of the hill.
Right at the top of the
in
hill.
that old house there.
Right. And there was a side tracks there.
Yeah, at that time.
Yeah, at that time.
Yeah, before they, I guess probably before they sold it to my daddy or whoever they sold it to before my daddy bought it.
Mm-hmm.
But he had 2 or 3 little farms right there and put them all together and had a pretty good farm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where he started at, and that's where I was born.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. You just knew the Kellys down in Black Fox then, or were related to them?
They were daddy's, Daly was my daddy's half brother.
Okay.
They had the same father, but different mothers.
Okay.
And so that's the reason that. See, there was twin girls. My grandpa married one of them, and then she died a little later on, and then she married the twin sister.
Okay.
Of the same family. And so that made my daddy half brothers, you know, too. It was a big family of them.
Oh, yeah. Families were really big back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's true.
Well, I don't know. They got some big ones today.
Yeah, a few.
Yeah, there was a lady come up got strawberries yesterday.
Go ahead. And she had a bunch
How
of
many
kids.
kids she have?
You know.
About 7?
She had 7.
That's
I'd
unusual.
say from about, 6 years old
Yep.
on down.
Yep.
Woo.
They were all young.
And she picked strawberries with all them children.
Well, there you go.
She had one on her back.
She really wanted those
I don't
strawberries,
see how
didn't
she
she?
done it.
Now, you actually sell strawberries,
Yeah.
but right
yeah.
you've got some left, but not a lot
yeah,
right now.
Yeah, they about to play out.
And it's a you pick. He
Yeah.
doesn't pick, you pick.
You
no,
pick.
you have to pick them.
How big is your strawberry patch?
It's a greenhouse. In
Oh.
the greenhouse. It's 150 feet. 125 feet long by 30 feet wide.
What else do you grow in the greenhouse?
Nothing.
Nothing, just strawberries.
No, I got tired growing tomatoes. I grew tomatoes for 30 years in that greenhouse. I started out using gas heat, and I spent $1,500 the first year that I grew tomatoes in there, and gas was 34 cents a gallon at that time. And I said, can't travel that road. So I took out one of the heaters, the gas heaters, and then I put me in a stove at the back. I kept one gas heater in there for backup heat, you know. And so I started hauling wood out of the woods and burning the fire in the stove. I put in the little house at the back of the greenhouse and blowed the hot air in there. And I'd burn probably a pickup load every night in that greenhouse.
Wow.
Did you have to get up in the middle of the night?
Yeah, you'd have to get up about 2 o'clock at night and refire it up a little bit.
That's right.
All right, well, it would burn all night, but, you know, you got to look after it. And be sure you don't let the tomatoes freeze. Of course, like I say, it had backup heat of gas, and it would come on if it got so cold in there.
Now, what was your parents' name?
My parents' name, my mother's name, Retta Dale Liner, maiden name, and sure she married Kelly. And my father's name was Elijah Baxter Kelly. He liked to be called E.B. Kelly.
Abby.
E.B.
E.B.
Yeah, and he was a go-getter. He knew how to make money. He bought that farm up there in Depression time. See, I was born in 1931. And my daddy bought that farm 2 or 3 years before, I don't know exactly, but before I was born. And that was a Depression time, Muddy. I mean, they had it rough back then.
Do you know how much you paid for it?
No, I don't know how much he paid for it. He sold it for $9,000 when he sold it. So he couldn't have paid much for it.
Well, during the Depression, people were just after any amount of money they could get. And they'd
Yeah.
sell it just to get out from under
Yeah,
it.
they had a hard time back
Yeah,
then. They
sure
think
they
you're
did.
having a hard time today. It ain't having no hard time today.
We may not
Because
we may not
some-
have what we want, but we
some
definitely
people-
have what we need.
Yeah, some people might be poorer than others, but most any of them can get some help from the government or somebody, welfare or something else, you know, food programs and stuff. They didn't have it back then. They had a soup line. They finally had a soup line, but that was all they had.
You know what they panic about now, don't you? It's when their cell phone battery dies, it's the end of the world.
Yeah, those young people in their phones.
I ain't got no cell phone.
You got one.
I ain't got no computer, and I don't want one. That's the most worst thing ever come on this earth is a computer.
Yep.
And them little cell phones ain't too good either.
Well, that's,
You're not even important anymore. Your name's not even in the phone book.
that's right.
People can't even look you up and call you.
That's right.
They gotta be given that phone number of yours before they can call you.
That's right.
That's a bad thing.
We don't know each other anymore. If somebody
No.
wanted to get some strawberries from you, how do they find you?
Drive down Old Charleston Road.
I live on Old Charleston Road. Well, if they come through the Tasso community, then they would be going north on Old Charleston Road. And I'm just up there on the left side of the road, about about half a mile on the left-hand side of the road, and it's a big plastic greenhouse sitting on the side of the road, so you can't miss it.
I remember when you grew tomatoes. Up there.
I grew tomatoes up there.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I'd pick 60 boxes sometimes every other day.
And what were you? Who were you selling them to?
That's when, like now, I'd be picking 60 boxes a make. Transition from cold weather to warm, hot weather, then that's when it all going to get ripe at once. See, tomato won't get ripe if it ain't kept warm.
Mm-hmm.
You can keep that tomato cool if it's green, and it won't hardly get ripe at all. It'll stay on that vine until maybe one day it might get ripe, but it'd be mellow tasting. Mellow tomatoes, that's what makes mellow tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
If they stay on the vine too long.
They need to get to about 90 degrees?
No, it don't need to get that hot. That's too hot. 70 or 80 is get it
that'll do
right.
it good? Okay.
But if it stays colder than that, well, they won't hardly get ripe at all. Of course,
Who did you sell all those tomatoes to?
most people come out the house and, get them.
Just individuals.
Or,
Wow.
Then I had regular customers, that would take several boxes at a time.
Yeah.
I've even had people from Chattanooga come up and buy tomatoes.
And the farmers markets?
Yeah, in the farmer's market. I'd take them out to the farmer's market. Sure.
There's nothing like a good tomato, is it?
But
what was your favorite kind of tomato?
That
Go
was
ahead.
one of the best tomatoes I've ever eaten out of the greenhouse now. And I had a lot of good comments on it. And I sold a lot of them.
What brand was it?
I mean, what
Well,
did you like to grow? What did you think tasted the best?
Goliath tomatoes, Goliath. Like the giant that got killed, name
Goliath.
in the
Goliath.
Bible.
That's it.
Goliath.
God.
Yeah, you can find them in any seed book just about. But it was kind of my favorite in greenhouse. Of course, I grew one time. It was real good, but I never could buy the seed again. It had tomatoes on it from the ground all the way up. And some of them getting ripe at the bottom, but it had just one cluster after another. 4 or 5 tomatoes to the cluster,
Wow.
Mr. Kelly, when you was growing up, you grew up on a farm. What did you have to do in the mornings before you went to school?
Well, usually I had to water the cow if the branch didn't run. I had to water the cow because we had cow to milk, And that's where we got our milk and butter from the cow.
So you didn't milk that cow?
No, I didn't milk her, but well, I have milked her. When Mama gets sick, I had to milk her, but my mama milked the cow. But I had to water her, and usually I'd give her hay sometimes. But that's where we got our milk and butter. We had our own cow. And Daddy was offered $100 for that cow back in 1940, 41, somewhere along there.
Did he take it?
No, he wouldn't sell it for $100. Now, that was back when the dollar was a dollar.
Mm-hmm.
You could buy a gallon of gas in 1940, and it cost you 12 cents a gallon for a gallon of gas. The reason I know because Daddy stopped there at the station.
Whose station?
In Tasso. It was in Tasso. And it was actually down there where the post office used to be. And he had it was a pump up thing. Big old lever here, and you done it that way to pump it up. And you pumped up 5 gallon of gas. If you want 5 gallon of gas, you'd pump it up in this bowl up there and hit maybe hold 10 gallon. And you pump up 5 gallon in there, and he'd drain it into your automobile by gravity, of course, from that bowl. That's what they used to. They didn't have no electric pump back then, see. It's all done by hand.
And that cost you 60 cents, then, right?
That cost me 60 cents.
And what kind of automobile?
It was, at that time, it was a 40 Chevrolet pickup truck. 40 Chevrolet pickup truck. He traded off that Plymouth for the 40 Chevrolet pickup truck.
Do you remember whose store it was in Tasso?
Yeah. Let's see. I believe Bird's run the post office. I believe it was Birds.
Mhm.
No, I take it back. Martin's run the post office first, and then they sold out to, I believe it was Bird. I'm not sure about that, but they sold out to another guy, and he run the post office for a while. And he's the one that had the gas. Martin never did have no gas.
Mm-hmm. There was a Staley's down there too, right?
Yeah, there was well, they had it. They built a new building in Tasso. Staley's did.
Right.
They might have been in there for a little while, but they built that new store there in Tasso. Of course, it's been tore down now.
Where was the depot in Tasso? The depot, the train.
It's right down on the railroad. If you was going east, it'd be on the left-hand side just before you cross the track.
Okay.
Right there. What's there now? The Rock 10?
There ain't nothing there.
Okay.
There's nothing there.
Mm. Right there at the airport.
And the airport just about tore down everything else. See, on
Yeah.
the other side of the tracks.
Mhm.
Tasso used to be a thriving community. There's a blacksmith shop, there's 2 or 3 grist mills. And if you wanted to ship your milk off, you took it to Tasso post office and sent it to Cleveland. And they put it on a train, and it went to Cleveland in 10-gallon cans. But, of course, that changed over a period of years, too.
That's right.
A lot of things changed, haven't they?
Yeah, a whole lot of things changed. Sure did.
Tell us about the grist mill.
You talking about our grist mill?
Yeah, you're a grist mill.
Well, Daddy, he used it. He bought it from Humphrey. I forgot his first name, but Humphrey was his last name.
Do you know how much?
No, I don't know how much he gave for it. And I don't know how much he sold it for, but he bought, and he run that grist mill for about 3 years, and then he sold it. Of course, we bought the farm in Shady Valley, and we moved over to Shady Valley after 3 years. Mm-hmm. When the war started up in 41? 41. Well, then we lived in 44. We lived in Shady Valley. We bought a farm from C.C. Card. That's the one that used to run the Ford company here at Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
C.C. Card. And I think Daddy gave $25,000 for that farm. And C.C. Card fixed it up for his wife. Made the house beautiful, you know. Cedar flooring upstairs and a hardwood flooring downstairs. And it was beautiful. And he's trying to get his wife to move out there, put all antique furniture in it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't reckon he ever got her to move out there. That was my version of it, but that's the way I understood it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He had a big house here in downtown Cleveland.
Yeah, right. And
Yeah,
she
over on
wouldn't-
Church Street.
He couldn't get her out there.
Yeah.
And he'd put page wire fence around the whole thing, 300 and something acres of it. And it was a big farm. And he'd put that page wire fence around the whole thing. And he'd really picked up that farm nice, and he sold it to Daddy for $25,000.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
And Daddy, back in.
That's a lot of money today, but yeah, for a farm, that's.
And Daddy sold his farm he had for $9,000 and put the $9,000 on top of it. Paid for the rest of it within 3 years.
Wow.
What did you farm? Did you milk cows or?
Oh, we had beef cows.
Beef cows.
Yeah.
Is that house still there?
No, I think it got damaged in the tornado that come through there, I believe.
Okay.
And then it's I don't know if it's completely tore down, but it's not live,
It's not there.
everything
Yeah,
just
parts
about
of it's
gone.
there. Yeah, that tornado took out some of the really nice older houses there.
Yeah, it took out even some of the barns across the road.
Mm-hmm.
But that was really a nice farm. Daddy gave $25,000 and paid off it. Remainder of after he spent the $9,000, he got out of his farm in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a fellow that like he would raise 100 acres of popcorn. We's the one that.
Now, what would you do with popcorn?
Well, Daddy, us kids shucked it by hand and shelled it with a big corn sheller,
Mm-hmm.
got the big wheel on it. And he would sell it for he sold it for 16 cents a pound to theaters, mostly in Knoxville.
The theaters in Knoxville. I
Yeah.
love it. I
Uh-huh.
love it. That's great.
And you didn't put it in the microwave either, did you?
No, yeah.
You cooked it the old-fashioned way. I love that. I love that. What else did he grow?
Well, he had a peddling route. My daddy did.
Uh-huh.
He had a peddling route, and sometimes he'd go in the middle of the week if he had a beef he'd killed to sell. But he'd go around every Saturday and had these regular customers to buy from him. And he'd take his meal from his corn, grist mill, and sell it. And that's the reason he bought the grist mill, because he had that peddling route. And he'd take his potatoes, onions that he'd raise. He raised about everything.
People like your dad's what made America get back on its feet.
Well,
and
I'd
fed a
say-
lot of people during the war.
Yeah, he fed a lot of people.
What did you do during the winter times whenever you couldn't farm or the weather was bad?
We had plenty to do. If we wasn't shucking corn, we was picking off peanuts.
Oh, he grew peanuts too?
Oh, yeah.
How many acres of peanuts would he grow a year?
Oh, maybe 2 or 3 acres.
Which was a lot of peanuts.
A lot of peanuts, yeah.
And what did he do with them? Just
Sell them out to the public,
Just the public.
on his peddling route.
okay. When he was peddling, what kind of vehicle was he using?
He's using that 40. Most of the time, he started out using the 39 Plymouth he had, and then he traded it for that 40 Chevrolet.
A truck.
Yeah, truck, pickup truck. And that's what he used. He first used his big Chrysler car he had. He took all the seats out of it besides the drive.
That kind of sounds like moonshine in there. That's the kind of thing they did then.
And this is a Chrysler car. It was a big car. And he had a luggage rack on the back.
Yes.
So he'd just load that luggage rack down, with stuff. That's how it started out. And then he took the back seat out and put it in the back, where the back seat was. And that's what he used first on his peddling route.
And what water was the grist mill on? What was a creek there? What?
There was a little creek run down through there. It's still there, the creek is. But, of course,
It wasn't powered by water.
It was
you
not.
know what?
Oh, it wasn't powered by water. Okay.
No, it wasn't powered by water.
Oh, okay.
He had that 4-cylinder Chrysler engine that he used in.
Oh, okay.
for it. Yeah, that's the way it was powered.
Now, when he ground things, did people pay him for grinding, or did they pay him in meal?
They paid him in meal. He took toll out. In other words, you take in a half a bag of corn, and your corn, and you grind it. You get a half a bag back of cornmeal, but that's got his toll out of it.
Mm-hmm.
The corn meal takes up more space than the corn does. See, there ain't many people know this.
Well, why?
I never thought about that.
Well, see, when you grind it up, then it's fluffy.
Okay.
When the corn lays close together.
Okay.
And so you can take.
Oh.
I think he took out 2 pounds. I forgot exactly how it was that he did that, but it was a small percent of it he'd take out, for his toll for grinding.
Now, did people come all the time to get it ground, or did he?
Well,
was he
this
just?
was a time place and time when a lot of people was grinding or buying store-bought meal, like you buy it today. It was just kind of a changeover period. And see, talking about changeover, I was the person that was born, like say, 1931, and in about the last of the 39, I'm at the 30s, people were going to tractors and changing the horses and mules to tractors. And so they got cheap, and one time we passed this field, it looked like it'd be about 15, 20 acres, covered up in animals, horses and mules. And I was wondering about where did it all come from. Dad said he's trading for them because people buying tractors now. Of course, Daddy bought him a H Farmall tractor. I was about 1940, and he paid $1,000 for it. He got the tractor and all the equipment. Of course, he bought him a hay baler too, and I think that cost him right more money than that hay baler. Here's a hay baler on wheels, and he got to going around baling people's hay out of their barn or out of the field, either one. That sometimes they stack their hay in the field back in to keep from getting wet and stack, and then you'd take that baler around and bale that hay up for them. Then they'd sell that hay in baler. But the only trouble about it is they always wanted, like, you could get 100 pound in one, that's what they wanted. But Dak, he'd get about 80 or 90, and usually about 80. Or he'd break the wire. They tied the wire back in by hand. And it just, well, it's a pretty good size. The wire about the same size as that, maybe just a little smaller. And sometimes they'd want it so tight that he'd just snap that wire in two.
And I didn't like it when it's 100 pound having to throw it up on the wagon.
But it took two men to handle 100 pound, even back in, good. They usually double up on it. You can handle it by the wire. If you handle it by the wire, it would break the wire. But you can the strings today. You can handle it with strings. If you get good twine, or good string.
Well, they have put in those big round bells now, don't they?
Well,
what do you think about that, James?
Well, the round bell, that's the most handy. You can get the hay up by yourself if you put them around. You don't have to tell nobody to help you load it. That's what makes it so handy. And to get it in dry. I just got through putting up some the other day.
I love it. I love all this. So if you have a neighbor like Mr. James Kelly, we want you to invite them to come do the show. And he as you can see, it's pretty painless. He's doing a great job, and April's has listened to these stories many times. I think James comes over and watches them milk and tells them the stories. We've got a caller. Let's go to the phones.
Good morning. You're live on Whoop FM, Old Town, Cleveland.
Good morning, Ron. Deb. How you doing?
Hey, Bullet.
What's up, buddy?
I've actually heard the name J.R.'s girl for a long time, and I actually talked to Red, and she explained it to me. I think one of them's Kenda Haney's up there, aren't they?
I am a Haney.
They are Haney's.
Okay, I used to do their poo up there. Mr. and Mrs. Billy Haney's poo up right across from me.
No, that's not us.
Different Haney's.
Yeah. They're at the wrong end of Old Charleston Road. They're on the north end. We're on the Tasso end.
So you're different Haney's then?
Yes, we're different Haney's. We might be kin way, way, way back, but we're not that close now.
Well, one of us used to bring Ready Wildcat milk, I think, and stuff like that.
That would be us. We have the dairy farm. Me and my husband do.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just trying to get that straight, and I was talking to Red a while ago, and I was gonna call in and say hello to you. But I've heard the name J.R.'s girl for a long time. I just couldn't place you.
Well, I hope it was all good.
It is good, and like I say, I'm enjoying your show this morning, and I just wanted to call in and I think you straightened me out on that now, and I appreciate it.
All righty, Bullet. Thanks, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You can call us here at 614-5553. We're talking to James Kelly today from up at the Tasso area, and also JR's girl and Bird Dog here, April, and what is your real name, huh?
Junior.
I was going. I said, I never called anything but Bird Dog for so long. I couldn't think of your name.
We took our granddaughter up to their farm and was going to introduce her to the great farm life, and she was absolutely horrified.
No,
She thought it was
in the car.
She thought it was all really great if she could observe it from the car. But we got her out. She was horrified at the animals and city slicker kids that we're raising these days.
There used to be a lot of grist mills around Bradley County, wasn't they? When you was growing up, was they everywhere?
Yeah, there was a lot of them. There was grist mill in Shady Valley over there too. There's also a flour mill. They made flour over there. You could take your wheat over there, and they would grind your wheat into flour, of course. But it's been.
Do you remember who operated that?
Well, I can't think of their name.
You probably
right
know exactly where it was.
I don't remember their name right now.
But
it was a couple of parties that owned it while I was growing up, you know.
Does it mill the same way as corn, or was it a different process?
Well, they got to take the brand off of it. See, the outside of the grain, they take that separate. They take that off, and It's what they feed the cows, bran, you know.
Mhm.
And then flour comes from the inside of the hull, of course.
I know down on Key Street along Mouse Creek there, or what turns into Mouse Creek, there used to be a mill right there about across from George R. Stewart. And there, and then Hooper had a big 3-story mill up in over on the west side, in Black Fox.
Every Creek had mills on it.
Yeah.
Every Creek.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. What's a thrasher?
Well, that's a thing that thrashes the wheat out of the stalk, you know, what it's growed in. It takes the grain out of the plant part of it. And it blows the straw out in a pile, and the grain comes out in the hopper. It goes into a bag if you got a bag.
So it kind of separates it so you can use it for different
separates
things.
it. Yeah, it's got shakers in it that shakes wheat down, you know, and then it's got the blower in it that blows the straw out.
See, I've seen pictures of my family, the McCulleys down from Tunnel Hill,
Yeah.
with a steam engine thrasher, but it was not operating, so I didn't know what it did.
Well, Daddy used to fire up one of them steam engine that threshed wheat. He used to put the slabs in there to keep the fire going. They used slabs to fire it up back in.
Okay. So it had a firebox on it that heated the water that made the steam engine work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
That had
Now, did he-
had a bell on it to pull a thresher.
Right.
see.
And during that time, people would pay you to thrash their wheat for them.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
And they paid Daddy to bale their hay for him too.
Yeah.
10 cents a bale he got.
Wow.
For baling their hay.
Your dad was
And
quite
we
the
went
man.
we went all over the country baling hay just about on time. You know, when it was maturing, you know, and growing, when they harvest, in other words.
What kind of did you guys grow? Just a vegetable garden for your family?
Me?
I mean, when you was growing up, did y'all have just a vegetable garden, or did you just have big gardens all over the farm?
Well, he may grow 3 or 4 acres of potatoes, something like that. Yeah, that's about enough.
How did you guys
That's
store
about enough potatoes to do through the winter. About 3 or 4 acres, ain't it?
I don't.
I would think so.
I have
Unless
no
you were
idea
a big
how-
eater.
We kids would have to pick them potatoes up when you plowed them up. Plow them up with a mule and plow, you know, and just go right out the row, and the mule would walk down the row, and he'd not even have to have a bridle on it. The mule knew where to walk had it been walked so much, you know. And it's a layoff plow, I call it, just one big plow, and plow potatoes up. Us kids would have to pick them up and put them in baskets, and we put them in hampers, you know, them big tall things.
Where'd you store them for the winter? Did you have a root cellar?
No, he usually got rid of them before it got too cold. He'd sell them on his peddling route. People buy a lot of potatoes. He maybe 50 bushel he would raise or more.
Wow.
Sometimes.
Did you ever grow like peas of any kind?
Yeah, he growed peas. He growed everything. You can't hardly name anything what he didn't grow it.
That's great. Did you guys grow strawberries?
He grows strawberries. Yeah, of course he wasn't no big strawberry grower. He just had a small patch, but he couldn't pick them all. You know, that's a hard job picking strawberries.
They're way down there on the ground.
Yeah,
All the way down there on the
I have to get on
ground.
my knees now to pick the things.
If I get down on my knee, I have to call 911.
I can't get up.
Get me a crane, get me back up off the ground now.
How did your farms get cleared, to where it's pasture land? How did you get the timber off of them?
Well,
The hard way.
That came in the past, you might say. Our forefathers did that. They didn't have no TV, and only in the wintertime they didn't have anything to do. So that's what they did, clear up land, clear up the ground, clear up the fence rows. That's the reason you didn't see no fence hedges on the fence rows, because they kept the fences cleared up. Of course, now they're all growing up. Nobody does anything. like that.
No.
If they can't ride a tractor, punch a button,
It don't get done.
Hey, go ahead, caller. You live on Old Town Cleveland.
Hey,
Hey,
I was just wanting to know. He keeps saying that his father had a peddling route. Did he sell the Watkins stuff also?
No, I don't think so. She's wanting to know if your dad sold Watkins too, or just all the stuff from his farm.
Watkins.
Yeah.
You know that.
No, I think I know that those peddlers were around, but his dad sold just the stuff he grew on his farm.
Yeah, no store-bought stuff or medicines or anything like that. He didn't sell anything like that.
Well, did he have any dealings with Pecoy Parish up in Polk County?
What was the first name?
Pecoy.
T-Roy.
Pecoy.
T-Coy Harris.
Parish.
Okay.
Parish.
I'm sorry, you're coming and going.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
I know he used to buy and take and sell, so I didn't know if maybe they had traded. So I was kind of curious.
I think that he just ran a route there in the shade of the valley, probably. Your daddy. He sold products just to his neighbors. He didn't go to Polk County.
No, he didn't go to Polk County. He went a lot in streets in Cleveland. No,
he came to downtown Cleveland.
Downtown Cleveland. They tried to run him off from selling down there in his later years because the stores got jealous of his peddling route.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
for
Thanks for
Bye-bye.
calling.
That's the truth too.
Now, so he was coming into town, and
he's coming into their territory. You know, not downtown, but he's taking a lot of their customers that had to trade at the stores. You know, and so. But they never did get it done, though.
Mm-hmm. I know it's amazing the things that they did. Oh, we got a call. Let's.
Good morning. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Yeah, my grandfather, he pulled the wheat thrasher around all over northwest Bradley County, Meigs County, go all the way over Tennessee River.
What was his name?
Fred Guerin. They operating back in
Guerin was the last name.
Guerin.
Guerin.
Well, what year approximately?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
What year approximately?
It would have operated up to the 30s.
The 30s? Mm-hmm. Well, see, up to the 30s, that was for my time. I was born in 1931. I just don't know about that.
And he'd stay gone for weeks at a time, and he'd have a crew with him, and the people would put his crew up and feed them.
Yeah.
It's an amazing story. Well, now you said something.
Now, that ain't nothing unusual to put your crew up. Well, it would be county, too, but they always fetch your dinner. And sometimes you'd stay all night with them.
Yeah. Go ahead, Pat.
All right, you said something about hay balers with rubber tire.
Rubber tires.
Yeah, my dad told me.
Mine didn't have rubber tires on it, or ours didn't. It had steel wheels.
Wow.
Yeah, you'd put it.
My dad told me a story. When he was young, they had these hay balers that sat stationary.
Well, that's what it was, a stationary hay baler.
Baling, they sit and bring the hay to it and bale it.
Yeah, that's the way it was. They'd haul it to it on sleds, or maybe on a wagon. But if it was out in the field, they would, in stacks, they would haul it to your baler on the sled. And that's the truth. And they just, in stacks, you just tumble it on, tumble it off.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then you tear it apart and put it in your baler. You had to put it up on the table to put it in the baler. You know what a table is. Well, that's just about what it was. And then Daddy would feed it in the baler from the table.
I'll let you go.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, Pat. Good hearing from you. Bye-bye. You're listening to Whoop FM 99.9. Here is Old Town Cleveland. You can call us here at 614-5553. We got James Kelly and JR's Girl and Bird Dog in here with us today. And we're talking about the Tasso area and just farming. And James, did you have electricity when you were first born?
Nope.
No electricity, right?
No. When I was first born, we didn't have no electricity.
So
we moved to Tasso in about 1939 or 40, somewhere. I think it's 39. And in about a year or two, we got electric down there, and Mama got her electric washing machine.
All right.
Yeah.
If you want Mama happy, you get her electric washing machine. She don't mind it. She still has to hang them out.
Did she have one of them?
But it's one of them old kind that had the the ringer on it.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have to run them to the ringer. Of course, that sure beat rubbing the washing clothes on the rub board.
Till you got your hand in that ringer.
Yeah, don't get
Oh, no. Hey, go ahead. Call you live on Old Town Cleveland.
Yeah, this is T. Bandy.
Hey,
T. Bandy. What's up, buddy?
I know James Kelly when he was just a boy.
This is T. Bandy.
He knows.
Yeah.
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 I think he grew up in that same
Yeah,
part of the world.
the name is familiar, but I don't remember what you looked like.
I remember when he used to bring that hay baler around up right along west from the mowers.
Yeah.
And Cotton would get in the truck and go to sleep, and you bigger boys would pull him out by his feet.
Yeah. Yeah, we pull that old Beller around all over the country.
He's a stout fella. He could have taken a tire off of a rim with his hands.
Are you talking about Virgil?
He wants to know who did you say could do that, T?
His brother Cotton.
Yeah, Cotton. That was the nickname for Virgil.
Yeah.
Virgil, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know him by Virgil. I know him by Cotton.
Cotton. That's where he went most of his life. Of course, now he's dead. He's already dead now.
Yeah.
All my brothers and sisters dead but one, and she's the oldest.
All my brothers are dead too. So.
What's your name again?
Bandy is his.
Yeah.
He worked at the co-op.
Yeah.
T. Bandy.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you.
Yeah. All of a sudden
sure
it came
does.
to him.
Yeah.
I try to forget him too, James.
Wait, listen. What's he saying?
What'd you say, T?
I got a fish truck coming next Saturday.
Okay. So
2 weeks.
in 2 weeks. Okay.
23rd.
Okay. So if you need to order fish, you can tell them your phone number.
478-2405.
Okay, and that's 2 weeks from today. You'll have fish at the
Yeah.
Southeastern Bradley County, whatever
Co-op.
Yeah, that's right.
I always call it the Farmers Co-op because that's what I remember it as.
Yeah, that's Bradley Farmers Co-op's what I call it. I don't call it Southeastern.
This don't seem right.
Never did get used to that.
Well, thank you, T.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling.
Take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
T lived in that house where Rattlesnake Springs is.
Yeah.
He lived in that house. It's over the spring.
John Moore's place.
Yeah,
on
John
John
Moore's
Moore's
place.
farm.
Yeah.
He used to do tobacco up there. And did you ever grow any tobacco?
Yeah. I've grown tobacco.
And, did you
What'd your daddy do with it?
Well, what do you mean? What
I mean, did he sell it or did he smoke it? I don't know.
No, he didn't.
He sold it?
No, he didn't smoke.
No, okay,
He
good.
never did smoke. But he got his. He never smoked a cigarette in his life. So of course, he breathed a lot of smoke from other people.
Yeah.
And but he got emphysema, whatever
Emphysema?
Yeah,
Mhm.
emphysema. And I've smoked all my life. I don't have any emphysema.
You're lucky.
I think just how much you do of it is what's bad. You can breathe other people smoking. It's probably worse for you than if you smoked a cigarette yourself.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm proud the Lord has stayed with me,
Yeah. Well, you're doing quite well today.
Hey, right here, I
Oh.
tell you, I still smoke.
He pulled out a tobacco bag.
He does his own.
Hey, we used to have
rolls your own.
We used to have it. You know what the name of the tobacco a long time ago? The most famous brand of tobacco a long time ago. Come in a little bag, that big. Dukes
Dukes tobacco.
was the name of it. Country Gentleman was another popular one.
Did you have indoor plumbing?
Indoor plumbing, no. No, we didn't even have a bathtub. We washed in that old round tub, metal tub you buy. If we want to take a bath, that's what we took a bath in. And that didn't happen very often.
No, that's a lot of work to take a bath.
You know how we took a bath?
In the creek.
In the creek.
In the creek. Go down to the creek.
Now, what'd you do in the wintertime?
Well, that was another story.
You warmed it on the fire first.
If I got through baling hay that day, I'd be so sticky. That's the first thing I'd do, go to the creek, take a bath.
Boy, and that water is cool.
Well, in the spring it was.
Yeah.
But that's the only time it really, kind of bothers you a little bit
Now,
in the spring.
When your mama cooked for you, what was your favorite thing your mama would cook?
Everything tasted good back then.
It's because she was working
I
hard.
just didn't have no favorite thing that. I guess it's some of them fish that I caught down at Fish Creek. You know where Fish Creek is?
No. Yeah, Fish Creek Market. Yeah.
Well, that was just Tasso there.
Yeah.
That was that little creek run down through Tasso there. That's what's called Fish Creek. The reason they called it Fish Creek because the engineers would get off the train when they'd sidetrack and go down there and catch a mess of fish while they waited on the passenger.
Tasso used to be called Fish Town, correct?
No, Fish Creek, what it used to be called. And
I've
then it got named Tasso.
And that's another story. Yeah.
Did you go all the way?
After which got its name was because the people on the train, the engineers would start calling it Fish Creek. And so that's where it got its name.
There you go.
Did you graduate from Tasso?
Yeah. Tasso School. I got some of the brick out of the school. The brick that come from the building. And I got a right smart oven, too.
Where was the school located?
Right on top of the hill there where the
Baptist Church.
Tasso Baptist Church is now.
Okay.
Right on top of the hill. In the same place, on the same spot.
And they had a baseball league, didn't they?
They used to play donkey ball.
Well,
Donkey ball.
They used to have trophies in the auditorium of the Tasso School upstairs, of course, a big room. And they had all kind of posters up there where they'd won the ball games. So I figured it must have been at least a high school or maybe a college there before it was a grammar school. And then they turned it to a grammar school to the 8th grade. So that's where I graduated from. Then started going to Bradley, to high school.
What year did you start at Bradley?
Bradley? Let's see now. 1943 or somewhere along there.
He was born in what year were you
31.
born?
1943, 44.
Somewhere along there.
Yeah. We moved to
How
Florida.
did you get from...
We moved to Florida when I was in 1946. We moved to Florida. We lived in Florida 3 years.
What was your trad? I started to say, what was your dad trying to do?
My daddy had an orange grove down there. He
Oh.
sold out everything up in Tennessee. And bought him orange grove in Florida, and he sold oranges on the side of the road down there. He made good money at it, too. He sold a lot of oranges. Then he got to Tennessee, filling again, won't come back to Tennessee, and then he bought him another farm up in Tennessee, went up. And so that's how we got back up here.
How did you get from Tasso to Bradley High School?
Tasso to Bradley High School.
Did you walk?
Well, no. They had buses back then.
Okay, they had a bus.
Yeah, they had buses back then.
Okay.
But it wasn't like the buses have today.
No.
It was just a small bus, and I think it held about 25, 30 students or something that way.
Talking about getting around, did you ride on the train?
Ride on the train?
Yeah, that came through Tasso?
No, I never did ride on. Well, I did. I take that back. I rode on the train all the way to Florida, and that is
A steam train.
Yeah, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
And that was the most boresome thing I ever did. We was on that train for 24 hours.
Did you sleep?
Going from here to setting up sleep. Going from here to Tampa, it took us 24 hours. That was 1946. Yeah, we went to Florida. And then, I don't know, it was hard to get over that trip on that train. Been on that thing. I've never been on anything that long before, you know.
When you was a boy, did you ever go jump on the train any?
Well, I've been up on them, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the boys, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I've even been up in the engineer in the steam engine room, up in there where you can pull the throttle and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Engineer showed me what throttle was worked the train, and I believe I could almost drove the train. I was showed that way 2 or 3 different times by the engineers. They'd be on the sidetrack down there, and we'd pass them going to the swimming hole, so that we get to see the engines that way.
Well, now you said boys will be boys. What kind of trouble did you get into back on the farm? Yeah.
What time of trouble?
Yeah. What kind of trouble did you get into?
Oh, I've been in many fights with boys. Is that what you mean?
Well, I mean, yeah. What else?
Yeah, I took my part. Nobody ever whooped me. This day, I don't think anybody ever whooped me. Now, I wasn't too big, but I was pretty tough.
Mm-hmm. Were you mischievous and playing tricks on people?
No.
April looked surprised at that answer.
Nope.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had 2 sisters and 2 brothers.
And who did your
There's
sisters?
5 children.
5 children. And who did your sisters marry?
Oh, my sister, one of them married Howard Arbor. He was from Pennsylvania.
Oh.
And my other sister, she married Roy Davis. Well, she was married twice, and but Roy Davis, I think, was one of the main husbands.
Mm-hmm.
And how many kids do you have?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I got 3.
You got 3.
Yeah.
They all still live here in Cleveland?
Yeah.
And who are they?
Well, Yvonne, Darlene, and Barbara.
3 girls?
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah.
One boy, 2 girls.
One boy.
Okay.
Yvonne.
Levon lives right down from him.
He got my name. My name's James Levon.
Yep.
So he's your neighbor.
Yeah, he's right down the road from
That's
me.
good. That's
Yeah.
good.
Uh-huh.
That's good.
And then Barbara, is she still teaching?
Yeah, she's at Bradley.
She's at Bradley.
What's
she
her
teaches
last name? What's Barbara's last name?
Is she?
She was married to Goins the last time, and I think she kept that name.
Barbara Kelly?
Yeah, that's his daughter.
She married Goins' boy. and
Yeah.
I think she kept the Goins.
I know. I know Barbara Kelly really well. Yeah. We went to Bradley together. Barbara's about a year older than me, I believe.
Darlene was my daughter too.
And then
a small world. We know those girls.
And what's their
Karen's a cousin.
Karen Kelly.
Karen Kelly. Yep.
Yeah, Karen.
Yeah, Karen. Karen, we know her very well too.
Yeah.
Well,
Karen
we
worked
should
for
have
me
known that from
down at when I worked at the cable company.
Yeah.
Karen worked for me down here on.
That was Lester's daughter.
Yeah, Lester's daughter.
Yep.
Yeah, when we in the store out on
Ladd
Springs. Got shot.
Yeah, he got shot.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Sure is. That's the same ones.
Well, how about that? Well, let's talk about you two for a few minutes. How's milking going? They looked at me like, "Don't talk about us." How do they work hard, James?
We got done about 9:00 and got in the shower and picked him up about 9:20, or thought we were. And he decided he was going to drive, so he followed us.
Okay.
Well, so now, how many are you milking now?
About 25 or so.
Yeah.
20, 25.
I milked for 14 years.
Yep.
He did.
And I milked about 80 head of cattle.
You milked in a flat barn?
Well, I had a parlor barn when I quit. Had a parlor barn when I quit.
Yeah.
It was actually the barn that was in Tasso when they tore it down for the airport.
Right.
It was still there.
That was still there when they tore it down.
And Miss Ramsey's?
And I got pictures of all of it, too.
Yeah.
And Miss Ramsey's.
And why they tore it down for, I don't know. I mean, you wonder about that. They ain't used to land. Why would we want to tear a good barn down like that was? Let alone the house. I think the house caught a fire. Of course, I got my ideas about that. I'm not going to discuss my ideas about it. But
barns are a valuable thing.
Caught a fire, and it burnt down, you might say. But the big barns sat there you know, all that
It
time,
had a
and it's still a good barn.
Solid hardwood floor in it.
And they come in there and tear the barn down to build that airport, but they're not using the land. The land's still there, not touched, you might say.
So what else have you done in your life other than milk cows? What other kind of jobs?
He was my school bus driver.
I was a school bus driver for 22 years.
Oh, gosh. He is
I
a brave
grew
man.
tomatoes in the greenhouse for 30 years. I run a service station for 5 years. There ain't too much I ain't done. Of course, some of it was within the other, you know, it's just the same time.
All
Well,
right.
it's time for us to take a break, buddy.
I got him this one question before we go. I'll let you think about it, and we'll come back after the break. Who made the moonshine up in Tasso? But now, wait just a minute. You can tell me when we come
I'll
back.
tell you where it was.
Okay, when we come back. We're going to let you tell the whole story. Right now, we got to take a break. We'll be back here in just a few minutes here on Old Town Cleveland.
Yeah, I know where
You're listening to WOOP-LP, Cleveland, Tennessee. Whoop FM is a broadcasting service of the Traditional Music Resource Center, and we play America's original music.
All of my friends that I loved yesterday have gone. They have gone home. Gone home. They have gone home. The songbirds are singing. The dell seem to say have gone. They have gone home. Gone. They have gone home. They've joined the heavenly fold. They're walking the streets of pure gold. They left one by one as the work here was done. Gone home. They have gone home. Gone home. They have gone home. Life here is lonely since they've gone before. Gone. They have gone home. Gone. They have gone home. The old weeping willow that stands by the door sadly sighs. They have gone home. Gone home. They have gone home. They've joined the heavenly fold. They're walking the streets of pure gold. They left one by one as the work here was done. Gone home. They have gone home. Gone home. They have gone home. They've joined the heavenly fold. They're walking the streets of pure gold. They left one by one as the work here was done. Gone home. They have gone home. Gone home. They have gone home.
Did you know that U.S. Money Shops cashes all checks, even the ones most check cashers reject? Tax refund checks, government checks, payroll checks, and many more. And when you cash a check with U.S. Money Shops, we'll give you 10% off your next purchase. At U.S. Money Shops, we have everything you need at a fraction of regular retail. So stop by one of our 11 locations or visit us online at usmoneyshops.com.
Buy yourself or coin today. The better way at U.S. Money Shops.
Some restrictions may apply. See store for details.
Check into cash. The cash you need is closer than you think.
Get an auto title loan today for up to $2,500 at Check Into Cash.
You drive home with the cash in your pocket.
Visit Check Into Cash for an auto title loan today or get a payday advance for up to $425. Call toll-free 877-262-CASH. Title loan amount determined by value of car and ability to repay. Borrowers often use payday advances over a period of months, which can be expensive. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
If you need a little green, Lending Frog is making deals. He'll lend you cash on any kind of wheels. Borrow just a little, or you can borrow
mall. Ooh, where'd the old town go? Did my hometown get old, or just me? Did all my friends get old, or just me? Are they all gonna have to be told, or just me?
Welcome back to Old Town Cleveland here on Whoop FM 99.9, or you can go to the internet at www.whoopfm.com. You can call us here at 614-5553. Today we're talking to James Kelly and JR's girl and Bird Dog, and we're talking about the Tasso area and growing up country and just everything. And I asked a question to Mr. Kelly just before we went to break is, where did you get your moonshine at?
Ha!
The statute of limitations has ran out. You can tell.
Was there moonshine in Tasso?
Well, it wasn't right in Tasso. That moonshine still wasn't. You know where Bob Julian's is?
Yes.
It was over there in that house. They had it in the basement, and they were making moonshine there. That's where Tasso got the bad name, was from that house right there. Now, they made moonshine in that house right there, just across the creek from where Bob used to live. And they made it in there for a long period of time before they caught him. They made it in the basement.
That's pretty good. Run the smoke out the chimney?
I don't know how they done it.
Probably run it out the chimney.
I have
and
no idea how they done it. I didn't
make
even know they was making it until they closed them down.
Yeah. So how much was it?
How much was what?
Moonshine.
How much it cost?
Yeah.
I never did buy none.
Oh, okay. I didn't. Well, I just gonna find out if you knew what the price.
I never did buy that.
Well, you know, I bought some property down on Southway Highway several years, many years ago, and I went back to Old Shed, and there's these plastic jars all back through there, and finally I realized I'd bought the old Stone property down on Southway Highway, and the Stones was the people who made the moonshine down on near McDonald, or one of the people. But besides, there's a lot of stills, a lot of water down on that south end. There's a lot of springs and stuff, but the Stones were some of them that made it, and I bought all of his old jugs. So
you did?
Yeah. That's not what I was buying the property, but I ended up with all his jugs. My wife said, his wife said, "What's all those jars?" I said, "Yeah, shh, that's that's where." Well, you know, moonshine was just part of cash crops back then. You know, everybody couldn't grow corn or couldn't grow good enough corn to eat, so they just they made it.
If you didn't take it to the grist mill.
That's right. Didn't take the grist mill.
Of course, you know they'd closed most of the moonshines down. You know, a little after I was born, you might say, because later on they got where they could catch up with them. They'd sniff it out of the air somehow.
Oh yeah. Well, they track where you bought your sugar, and that's the big thing, where you bought big loads of sugar.
They invented this instrument to sniff them fumes out of the air to the mash. Or something. That's what I was told.
I just hired a drunk to find it.
Huh?
I just hired a drunk to find it. They just walk along, and go. They like a dowsing rod. They just walk along. Did you ever use a dowsing rod to find water? Did you know? Do you believe in that stuff?
No, I never did believe in it. I don't believe it. Do you?
There are people who tell me that you can take a peach branch and you can find water.
You mean that branch is going to twist or do something whenever you get close to water?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you how to try it out. Get you a glass of water and sit there and see if it twists. Then you'll know.
Well, you know, there's guys, and there's a guy here in town says he can take a dowsing rod, he can find a grave for you, an unmarked grave. He can find the grave. He can tell you whether it's a man or woman.
Nah, I don't believe that either.
Well, you know,
unless he knows in the beginning, he
has a 50-50 chance. You know,
you got 50-50 chance. That's right.
Yeah, 50 chance.
Who's going to prove him wrong? Are you going to dig it up and say, "Oh, yeah, you're right there"?
Prove him wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not going to dig it up.
Hey, caller, go ahead.
Hey, Ron, I have a question for you.
Sure.
You used to work for the sheriff's department, right?
Many, many years ago, yes.
Okay. Is it against the law to fire a gun inside the city limits?
Yes, it is.
Well, I'm going to. How much is the fine?
According to if you get caught or not.
Or if you hit what you're shooting at, Red.
Wait a minute.
Get it.
What are you going to shoot? First thing I got to know.
What's Bob done now?
Well, now listen. I bought some tomato plants and put them out, and a groundhog went down there and pulled them up. So I'm going to shoot the groundhog.
Well, just don't tell anybody you did it.
Well, everybody around here is going to hear it when I fire off that shotgun.
First thing you do is don't call on the radio station and say you're getting ready to shoot your gun inside the city.
Nobody up here listens to that station.
That's about right.
Well, I feel the same way. They ate my tomatoes last night.
They didn't eat mine.
They ate some of them plants last night, and they were about that high.
I
and they ate the plants off almost to the ground.
They keep.
I just got through spraying them yesterday with some insecticides. Thought that would foul up the smell, they not eat it, but they did eat it last night. And I hate them things.
As long as you don't get caught, you're all right.
What? You shoot the groundhog? I don't care.
She lives inside the city, though.
Well, they don't. I live outside the city, and so I'm allowed to protect my tomatoes.
That's right.
I don't care what they say.
That's a constitutional right.
If I can get my shotgun out and catch one of them, they can come out and watch me shoot it. And I'll be proud to shoot it.
Well, now the groundhogs hadn't been eating my tomatoes, but they've been digging underneath my house.
Well, they're digging in my barn floor.
You don't live in the city, do you?
Yes, I do now. The city limits got me.
Well, I guess I'll see you in jail.
Well, somebody shot something down in my woods. I don't know who it was, but I don't mind the groundhogs. It's bad enough they dig in your house.
Yeah.
But when they come out, a skunk's won't go down in the hole. Now that bothers me.
Ew.
What purpose do they serve?
What, groundhogs?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Dig a hole.
Yeah, well, I don't like them, but I live down on the south end, where they're building all that down there at South Lee Highway back at APD 40.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since they cut that across APD 40 from where you guys live there, guess where all the creatures have come? Across APD 40, I've got bobcat behind the house now, and turkeys, and I know why the
coyotes.
We got it all now.
I bet you got some snakes up there too.
Yeah, we do. We're running the zoo.
And then read the other night, we're pretty sure Sasquatch came and visited our deck. We have a deck that you can't get to from the ground, and we have a bird feeder on it. And something broke the glass out of the bird feeder the other night.
Ripped it out.
That's what I tell everybody.
It's got to be a
I was
raccoon.
raised in them Georgia mountains, and I never saw a Sasquatch, so there isn't one. If there had been one, he'd been up there.
Well, let me tell you, I know what Sasquatch looks like.
What's that?
If you ever seen a picture of Bob Cash, you know exactly what Sasquatch looks like, just a little shorter.
Well, I've never seen a picture of him.
Well, I mean, they're the same thing to Bob, just a little shorter.
Oh, God.
And Bob eats a lot more corn. Well, no, he drinks a lot more corn. Excuse me, I'll get it straight in a minute.
That's mean.
But the truth. I mean, all right, Red.
I just want to say hi to Bird Dog and April.
Call us if we need to bring you bail money.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye. Unfortunately, you can't burn in the city. You can't.
We've
shoot
lived in the
city.
same house since 1981 and have burned trees all that time. Now we can't burn fallen trees in our own yard.
Now, what you can do is stack that wood up, light it, and get you a hot dog out there. You can grill, but you can't burn. As long as you're cooking you a hot dog, you're fine.
We're
hey, go
live.
ahead, caller.
Okay.
You're live.
Yes, this is
Bob Dash.
look here. Now let's do this, boys. Red, talking about Sasquatch and all that. I'm sitting over here. I'm scared. Send her over here, hold me.
I have no answer for that
She
one.
is armed and dangerous today, Bob. You might not want to mess with her.
We're talking about shooting stuff and everything, and I wonder if she's going to use that 410 gauge shotgun she's going to sell me. Tell her to call me.
All right.
I'm going to give her
Answer
your
your
number.
phone.
She'll give it to you bullet
if you'll
first.
what you need to do is go over there and try that 410 shotgun out, shooting that groundhog, and she'll hold you then.
That's right. Hey, that's a good idea, Ronnie. That's a good idea.
We got a plan for you.
Look here, one last thing, if you will.
All right.
I'd like to remind everyone the end of this month is Memorial Day
Yes, it is.
for our fallen soldiers over all the wars. And I'd like to just tell the people to remember to fly their American flag. And if they don't have one, they're not expensive at all. Just be sure you get one made in America.
Okay. All right, Bob. Hey, we'll play your songs that week.
Good, great.
All right.
Great. All right, mate. Talk to you all later.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bob Cash, the one and only Bob Cash.
So how old were you when you got married?
Mr. Kelly? Wait, we got another
Oh,
caller.
you
here.
asking me that question?
Just a second.
Hang on, we got them wound up.
Go
now.
ahead, caller.
Good morning, Ron, Debbie.
Hey, Sid.
Hey, there's several remedies. That guy there, this grow stuff, he would know there's several remedies. I wouldn't far gun the city limits for $5,000. But anyway, there's human hair. You put human hair out there to kind of, and then, of course, you can use mothballs to repel about anything, but you don't want to use them up close to your plants because, they got ether in them, and they think nothing likes the odor, of mothballs. And then on the groundhogs, you got to see them first. You got to see them before you can shoot them. High-powered pellet rifle, but still you got to be careful with one of them. And I know about all that. And
well, what you need to do is you and Bob Cash need to go over to Red's house and solve this problem.
Get rid of them groundhogs.
Yep.
There's believe it or not, there's some stuff you can get. Now, they come up out of the ground, I think, don't they, like a mole or...
No, they're above ground, but they'll dig down and make a den underneath the ground.
Yeah, well, I had some things I had to take down from my broccoli plants, real pretty ones. And they were, I think them was big cutworms, but then I had some moles. Moles.
Yeah.
And I think it says for moles and gophers and groundhogs and whatever, but it was, I got old baddies that was poison peanuts, but you got to watch where you put them,
I wouldn't want to get my red-tailed squirrel dead.
No, you put them in that hole. Believe it or not, in that little hole that would come up around, in my, like around my garden, like around the raised beds. I got some raised beds. And those little holes that come up, you put your fire down in them holes, and believe it or not, there's a big cavity down in there.
Yeah, well, that's usually moles or voles, both. Those little rats. All right, Sid, we'll send Red over there.
Bye.
James, what was I going to ask you now? I forgot what it was. Oh, you asked him when did you get married?
When did I get married?
Uh-huh.
I was about 20, 21.
How old was she?
She was about a year younger than me. I think a year and 4 months, I believe, younger.
So what was her name?
Edna Marie Branham.
Branham.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where was she from?
She was from Cleveland, around, from Surrey.
Yeah. Now, how did you meet her?
Well, she was buddying around with my sister.
Those sisters can bring home some pretty girls.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, and I met her. Well, she was staying with my aunt, too. This girl was keeping her kid, Aunt Dorothy Chittenden. And, of course, I guess a lot of people remember Jack Chittenden. That was, she was his wife, My aunt was.
What kind of work did he do?
He was police department.
Oh, okay. Like
Cleveland. I said, I guess probably people
may remember him.
May remember him if they're getting up in years and age. Because, of course, he's dead. She's dead. They're all dead.
That happens.
Good lead-in. Coming up in June 6th, then we're going to do a story about Homer Simpson. Not the cartoon character, but the real Homer Simpson. Homer Simpson was the chief of police of Cleveland, Tennessee, twice. And after he ended
And that was before your time. It was in the 1920s.
1925. He was the chief of police here, and by 1929 he was electrocuted in the electric chair in Georgia for bank robbery and murder.
Now, Ron has been reading the book. We picked the book up. It's called The Real Homer Simpson, and we got it down at the Museum Center. And if you like crazy true stories, you need to buy that book.
This ought to be made into a movie. There's prostitution, there's moonshining, there's bootlegging. That's just from the sheriff, from the chief. And then it's got Birch Biggs, the former sheriff out of Polk County's in the story there. He figures into it. And then there's
the Church of God.
The Church of God's involved in it. And World War I, Homer was a hero
it should
there.
be a movie.
And before you know it, but when they killed the guy, they didn't mean to kill him.
That they were robbing.
And they were real sorry about it, they said.
And it's a lot different from today. They went to trial one day, and the next afternoon, the jury was given the case to decide on. In a day and a half, a murder trial, a bank robbery murder trial. And from the time they started the legal process to they were executed was a real short period of time. And it's just a really interesting story. But the book's available down at the Museum Center. If you happen to go down there, tell them you heard us talking about them.
The Real Homer Simpson. And like I say, it's pretty. And Homer's buried up here on Fort Hill Cemetery with the rest of his family. They lived over here on People Street in downtown Cleveland. So that's coming up in June 6th. And next week, we got pigs in here.
Yeah, we're going to have a whole bunch of pigs in here. The Pig Boys are going to be here. Charles Pigs, John Pigs. What was John Pigs?
Right.
His sons. Mr. Pig used to be the head cook down at Bradley High School. He was also Reverend Pig, and he worked at Lee University in the formative years of Lee University. Very interesting man, but his three sons are coming on to talk about their dad. And a lot of people in Bradley County remember Mr. Pig from Bradley High School.
Goulash Thursdays, baked beans and shrimp on Fridays. I remember it very well. Your daughters and nieces will understand all this here. That Mr. Pig from Bradley High School.
I don't know him.
Oh, well, your daughters will. I guarantee you. They'll remember him very well.
Remember him.
Barbara will remember him very well.
His little barbecue sandwiches that were wrapped in that wax paper and it'd be red all the way around the rim. You didn't have to guess what it was. You could tell it was the barbecue by seeing
That's
it.
when you wanted to eat in the cafeteria at school. I remember, I ain't going to say that I went to Oak Grove and I couldn't stand the cafeteria food there, but I won't say that.
No, let's not say that.
I don't say that.
That was a long time ago, Ron. Well, speaking of that kind of thing, James, when you were going to school as a small boy, did your mom pack your lunch, or was there lunch at school? That's been a while ago, hasn't it?
When I went to Bellefonte,
yes.
Of course, they used to have a Bellefonte school.
Yes.
And that was up at Bellefonte. That's about halfway between Charleston and Cleveland, know. And so I'd take my brown paper bag lunch over there. They had a cafeteria. It was just a two-room school, but they still had a cafeteria. They just built that school.
Mm-hmm.
And but
is that building still there?
Yeah, it's in the house form now. That somebody changed it into a house.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started going to Tasso, then I went back home and eat because I just lived down there at the bottom of the hill where Goins lives now.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the mill was, where the Goins lives. Eddie Goins, that's where he lives. And so I just walked down to the bottom of the hill for lunch, and I could eat. Sometimes I eat in the cafeteria, especially when the teacher asked me to. Free, I didn't have to pay.
There you go. There you go.
You could walk over to the stores and get food too, right? Candy. whatever on lunch?
Yeah, no, I didn't have no money.
Didn't have no money.
Nope. They hardly anybody had money back then.
Right. You could be rich and not have money then. Right.
That's what my dad.
How you gonna be rich without money?
Well, you had a lot of stuff.
Possessions.
Well, we had possessions of
that you could trade for other things or even sell for a little
His
money.
interpretation of rich is the same as mine. Money makes you rich.
Okay.
Things don't make you rich.
Possessions is pretty well.
Yeah.
A lot of land or a lot of cattle. or
Did-
something
did
like
you
that.
ever,
But you can't, nothing like cash.
Yeah, that's right. I'll agree to that.
Now, money don't buy you happiness, James.
No.
But do allow you to shop in a whole lot more places.
Well, it makes you comfortable. doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Did you have hogs? I know you raised cattle, but did you have hogs for yourself?
Yeah, we always raise pigs.
All right. When did you slaughter them?
Well, usually it'd be in the cool of the weather, whenever you could slaughter. You didn't slaughter a hog in the summertime when it's hot.
No.
It had to be when it's cool. You didn't have no refrigeration. We didn't even have an ice box when we first started. We didn't even have an ice box, let alone a refrigerator.
Was that a messy job?
Huh?
Was that a messy job? Slaughtering a hog?
Slaughter a hog? Well, in a way, I guess you say it is. There's a lot to it.
But
I can tell you how to slaughter a hog.
That ham sure was good later on,
I can
wasn't it?
show you how to slaughter a hog. I've helped doing it a whole lot. My daddy, he's taught me,
I saw it a couple times from a distance. Go ahead, caller.
Hello, Ronnie.
Hey, how you doing today?
Pretty good.
You-
I'm enjoying this. I like this old-timey stuff. And I want to wish Debbie a happy Mother's Day.
Well, thank you very much. We have lots of new blessings in our lives. We've got 2 new grandbabies since Christmas, so Mother's Day's going to be even more fun this year.
Well, that's nice and all. But anyway, that's what I wanted to do. Wish you a happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, dear.
Where did you get your moonshine?
He's full of meanness, and I can't get rid of it.
You know what?
What?
If he was dried up, I wouldn't have nothing to do with him. I like him because
he's spicy.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's mischievous.
Yeah.
And that's what I like. I like somebody that's got a little life in them.
Well, that's me. A little life. But I'm about to wear it all out.
He's getting gray-headed.
Yeah. He done.
Y'all have a nice day.
All right.
Thank you.
I got your song loaded.
Okay.
All right.
Very much, Ron. I really appreciate it. There's not but one thing wrong with that song. It's just not long enough.
She likes just a swinging. Thank you, dear. Happy Mother's Day.
Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
James, what was your very first car that you bought yourself and owned?
My car?
Yes.
Well, my daddy when we went to Florida, he got me a 37. God, I got a cramp in my leg. He bought me a 37 Chevrolet car.
A 37 Chevrolet.
Yeah, it cost $700 some.
Well, that was an expensive car.
Well, back then it was.
Yeah.
A pretty car. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I drove it to school.
Did you?
Yeah.
Now, did you go to school in Florida some
yeah,
too?
I went to Hillsborough.
Did you like being in Florida, or it was just okay, or
Well,
that's
yeah.
just where you were?
Yeah, I liked it when we was down there.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I wouldn't want to live down there by myself.
Mm-mm.
I wouldn't want to even stay down there by myself.
Yeah.
Like my wife, I had a drove here a while back, just a few years ago. I had 40 acres in oranges.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife wanted to come back to Tennessee. She didn't want to stay down there anymore,
They would stay up here in the summer and then go down there in the winter, wouldn't you?
Right, and I'd work down there in my orange grove all winter, and of course she stayed at home. But,
oh.
And she'd stay at home, and so I still got a cramp in my leg.
Okay, let's get this call.
Go ahead, caller.
How you doing? I'm live streaming y'all, and y'all look very nice this morning.
Thank you.
Okay, I do got a question. You were talking about earlier about killing hogs and butchering hogs, and my family used to do that down in Florida. I'm from Melbourne, Florida, and I'd like to ask a question about Now, they say you certain times of year you cut them high and cut them low. Can you explain that?
That's when you neuter them.
When you butcher a hog?
Oh, when you butcher a hog? We just always butcher them in the wintertime when it was cool. You got to have, you didn't have no refrigeration, and so if it's not going to be cool in the next week or two, you better not butcher your hog. And so that's the way you went. Usually,
And so you butchered them
every
this-
winter after a certain time. Weather, I guess, is more reliable back then than it is now.
What's cut them high
But
and cut them?
It would turn cold.
When he said cut them high or cut them low, what did that mean? Anybody have any idea?
They're just all shaking their head no.
I'm not going to comment on that.
He says, no.
I know about what he's talking about.
Okay. Thank you for calling.
I got one more question.
Okay, go ahead. Let's see.
Now, cracklings. Does he know what a crackling is?
Okay.
Crackling.
Well, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah,
James,
that-
explain
that-
what a crackling is.
That's where you render the lard out of the fat.
And that's the little pieces that are left floating in there, and they
right,
get hard.
You don't do away with all of it. You render the lard out, and it turns to juices. But there's a little piece there that's left, and that's cracklings.
Yes.
Put that in your cornbread.
But that's
That makes good cornbread.
when we were down at the cornbread festival, they had crackling cornbread, but it wasn't nowhere as good as my mama's was.
But if you get too many cracklings in that cornbread, it'd be too greasy.
Yeah.
But a little bit's all right.
We used to put it in our biscuits and our hoe cake. Mama used to make hoe cake in the back frying pan on the stove, and she put the cracklings in the hoe cake and the biscuits. It was good.
Biscuits. I never did eat.
We never put cracklings in our biscuits.
Not
but
the biscuits,
But
cornbread.
now I can understand it being in fried bread, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks
you.
for listening.
So now, did you have a smokehouse for your hogs? Or
Yeah, Daddy had a smokehouse. He hung his 2 hams in a smokehouse one time, and he didn't live where he hung them, and somebody stole them that night.
That's awful.
Yeah, they stole his hams. He just killed his pig, up there where we used to live, and hung it in the smokehouse, and somebody stole it. He knows who stole it, but I'm not going to say who it was.
so now, did you make sausage and did you eat the pig
Yeah,
feet?
he made sausage. Had good sausage.
What about the pig's feet?
Well, he give them to you if you come around in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or many other parts of it.
Yeah.
We throw away a lot of parts. Say you put in sausage now, you don't know what you get when you get ground up meat
Well, now
and sausage.
What about chitlins?
Chitlins.
Did you ever make chitlins?
Yeah, we made chitlins, but I don't like them.
They have
Don't
to be.
like the thoughts of
You
it.
got to clean them real good.
Oh, that's what to say, but I don't like them.
Well, I don't like them either. But
I
just
don't
the
even like
idea
the
of
thoughts
it.
of them.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot better things to eat than that now. Get you a good old fried green tomato. and
Oh,
make
there
it.
you go. Fried
Yeah.
green tomatoes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I like those things.
What else do you grow on your farm? You're pretty well known for something else, too.
Me?
Yeah.
Now?
Yeah. What's them little strop things you grow?
You talking about little what?
They smell really, really good, but
Oh,
they
you-
don't taste good at all.
You talking about plum grannies?
Plum grannies, you got
Yeah,
it.
Plum grannies. Yeah, I've got some set out.
Do you just save the seeds from year to year?
Yeah, you can just save
Yeah.
the seed, just like watermelon.
He has always saved his seeds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He don't have to worry
You
about
don't- you
GMOs.
can't try to go to the store and buy plum granny seed.
Yeah,
You
that's what
can't-
I'm thinking.
You can't find them.
Yeah, that's what
But
I'm thinking.
I got some now if you want them.
Okay, I might take you up on that.
But now, back on your farm, did you have any kind of fruit trees, apples, persimmons, peaches?
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
That was always around, apples and peaches, but you never just spray it. It might be a hit or miss here. Maybe you'd have
Yeah.
good fruit, maybe you wouldn't.
Did you ever have persimmons?
Yeah. The possums like them.
Yeah.
We still have 'em.
Always persimmon trees. I grow wild. Persimmons does.
And the wasp likes them. They're really ripe when the wasp gets down there on the ground, right?
Well, whenever persimmons get ripe, is after frost. You gotta wait till frost, and then they'll get good. But if you try to eat them before it frosts, usually they have that sour taste, it just bites your tongue.
Sort of makes you pucker up too, don't it?
Yeah.
Something else that you don't see much anymore is pawpaws. Did you ever do anything with pawpaws?
I never was familiar with that.
Okay, they're something on a tree. And,
I've heard of it, but I just not familiar with it.
Lamar Orr
I think
brought me one.
You're not talking about locusts, are you?
No, I don't think so. Now, what's on a locust plant?
There's a big black thing like that.
Oh,
right
those
there.
long beans. Did you ever do anything with those?
Come off of a tree, a
Yeah, I know
locust
what
tree.
Mhm.
They have a little seed in it, but they have a lot of good eating around that seed.
I did not realize
Yeah.
that. I did not realize that. How did your mom can
Yeah, she can.
preserved stuff?
Yeah, that's the way we lived back then. She
Mhm.
did can of oodles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We still can stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We my wife putting strawberries in the freezer today.
Yum.
Yeah, I picked them yesterday.
Now, did you you had a lot of cattle, but now as younger, did you ever eat squirrel and rabbit and all that kind of stuff?
I've eat rabbit, don't like squirrels. Rabbit's fire.
What about
But-
groundhog? They talked about that. Did you ever eat a
Groundhogs?
groundhog?
No, you don't eat groundhogs.
James was never that hungry.
No, I don't like skunks either.
No, no.
Now, when your dad was doing all this farming, he was probably just doing it the way he saw his daddy do it. Did he understand about rotating crops?
He went
and-
to second grade in school.
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah, but he could figure good though. He
Mhm.
knowed how to count,
Mhm.
and had a second grade education. You can hardly beat him in money.
Yeah.
Well, if he paid off his farm and after 3 years,
He knew he was a smart man.
Yeah, he's a smart man.
He counted his money real well.
He knowed how to make it though.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And he knowed you had to work for it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Where
And
was
he
your-
had a bunch of kids too to help him?
Mm-hmm.
Where was your grandparents from?
My grandparents.
Yeah.
What do you mean where they're from?
Well, were they here in
Tennessee,
Cleveland?
of course. Yeah, Cleveland. Ran Cleveland. Yeah. Yeah, the Liners, see, they lived up Charleston. You don't remember Steve and the Liners that lives in Charleston?
I know Jeff Liner lives up there. He's one of that Liner bunch.
It probably is. I don't know.
He'd
Jeff.
be more my age.
Yeah, I guess I don't really know him, but
He's related to all the Liners up there. You know.
Clyde and Steve, they were brothers. They were brothers to my mama. She was a Liner. And, of course, there was a big family of them. I don't know, about 10, 12 kids, somewhere along there. Big family of them. You know, they had big families back then.
Yeah.
How many was on your dad's side?
How many was on my dad's side?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think there's 5 immediate full brothers and sisters. But they had a lot of half brothers and sisters.
Right.
About 8 or 9.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, just
exactly.
8 or 9 more.
I can't remember all that stuff. See, they had 2 different mothers, like I told you before.
Right.
Do you remember when they brought Bow Waters into Cleveland?
Yeah, I remember. Sure. Yeah, well, I end up Charleston.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
Yeah. That did that change a lot of things? These jobs, and people stopped farming back then when they started getting those jobs in the
or did
things
you
like Bow
notice?
Waters or
Well, I don't think so. I think it changed the smell pretty bad.
did change the smell.
But you don't smell it much nowadays.
No,
though.
you really don't anymore.
It used to be, man, when that wind would blow from the north, it just burn your nose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now.
But it was good for this part of the country, though. It brought a lot of jobs.
Right.
And made a lot of people a good living.
Mm-hmm. Sure did.
Forgot
what I was going to ask you now, but.
And I've taken wood up there too, a lot of Bowater wood. See,
Mhm.
I've done about everything. Ain't hardly anything what I ain't done. Just tell you the truth about it. You think I picked oranges in Florida, growed oranges in Florida, and all that stuff. You know, milk cows.
He can play the lap
playing.
steel guitar too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I do some. I about to quit on that.
I bought me a dobro.
A dough roller?
Dobro.
Dobro.
No.
The lace
Lap
down.
steel.
Yeah.
I bought one. I haven't figured it out yet.
It kind of
You ain't
sounds
figured
like
it out?
it sounds like a cat.
Is it
with-
electrified?
Yeah, it's
No,
got,
it's not no electrified. Don't have no
it has a pickup in it.
amplification.
Yeah, it does.
It does?
Yeah, it's a flat lay down steel, but it has a pickup in it, so you can put it in there. Yeah, either one. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
still acoustic.
It's got the big box, little box on it.
Big box.
Yeah, that's dough roller.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can play some of it, but I'm not good at it yet.
It's a little bit hard to play, just to tell you the back.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, the regular guitar, the Spanish, I call it the guitar, just regular guitar. You only chord hit.
Right.
You just hit the chords. You don't have to pick out each note on it unless you want to pick
Right.
out a song on it. But usually it don't require picking out each note. But on the steel guitar, you got to pick out each note. You
Yes.
don't just chord it.
I'm haven't figured that. I'm working on it.
Well, yeah.
You know, I get there and I play it for a little while, and I get mad and I put it back in the case and leave it alone.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so that way it'll
He
fix itself.
understands that he can't get it to do what he wants.
I've been there. I'm still there.
It's just, it's like a fiddle or a mandolin. They're tuned different than a guitar.
Now, James, how did you learn to play the steel?
Well, I got this present. I think my daddy gave it to me, a guitar for a present. And he wanted me to learn how to play it. And so we went to Florida about that time, and I took the guitar with me. I went down there to the studio, music studio, and asked them if they'd teach me how to play what I call Spanish guitar, just a regular guitar. And they said, no, we don't give them lessons. We give steel guitar lessons. I said, and they said, do you want to learn how to play it? I said, I ain't got no steel guitar. He said, well, I got one, I'll sell you.
That was convenient. Hey,
and so I bought it from him. It was trade-in and an old Rickenbacker. But it's a good guitar. Rickenbacker.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's a good guitar, and I still got it.
Oh, wow.
We saw one of those in a music store not too long ago, and Ron drooled over it.
If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator.
I
Ron,
don't need
did you
help.
call somebody?
Apparently, I called somebody, or somebody called me. I don't know. Yeah,
Speaking of presents, what did you get for Christmas when you were growing up?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
What did I get for presents?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what'd you get for Christmas? What was the typical Christmas?
Oh, man. That's a pretty tough question for me. I meant just different things.
Well, did you get just like an apple and some nuts,
Well, when I
or
was
did you
real
get a
little-
new bicycle?
When I
Or
was real little, I got a little car or something that way. I did. 1 year I got a bicycle.
Wow.
That's when I had my paper route. I had a paper route in Tasso. I was a paper boy.
In Tasso.
Yeah, I was a paper boy in Tasso. I forgot to tell you that, didn't I?
And what paper did you deliver?
Chattanooga New Free Press.
There you go.
Yeah,
Let's
not Times, but New Free Press.
Let's get this call.
Go ahead, call. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Ron, this is Doyle Palmer.
Hey, Doyle.
Hey, Doyle.
Enjoying the show today. I had a couple of questions. Follow up on the hog killing.
On the hog killing.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Kelly, what parts of the hog did you salt cure, and did you sugar cure some of it?
Did you hear this question?
It don't make no difference.
It don't make no
Whether you sugar cure or salt cure it. If you don't want the sugar taste, don't sugar cure it. But don't salt it too much, or you might have a real salt taste. But you now got to put enough salt on it to cure it.
Are there?
And it's got a lot of water will run from it when you put the salt on it. It runs some water moisture out of a lot of it.
It doesn't matter. You can salt or cure any part of the ham, or any part of the pig.
You can salt any part of it.
Okay.
But you don't want to salt like pork chops, tenderloin, whatever you want to call it. Pork chops is pork chop, but tenderloin is muscle pulled out from the pork chops.
Yeah.
You don't have the bone in it. That's tenderloin. That's the difference in it.
And you had a big box that put the meat down in the box with.
Well, you can do it that way. I've done it that way.
What about,
salt packet for a while, and then take the salt off of it after it's pretty well cured. You don't want too much salt to stay on a long time.
What about the ham, he asked?
Huh?
Hang the hams.
Did you hang your hams?
Yeah, we hung 'em up. Yeah, we had a smokehouse too.
Now, James, why do you hang the hams? Just to keep stuff away from them? Or if that was just the easy way to
You
do
don't
it?
want the rats to eat them, do you?
The rats, okay.
Or some
No,
other
I don't want
animal.
rats anywhere. Or
Yeah, hang them up and on a string, and then maybe something can't climb that string down.
There
to
you
'em.
go.
Hey, what kind of bag or container did they put the salt in? Or excuse me, the sausage in?
The sausage.
Sausage?
What kind of container?
We usually put the sausage in.
Yes.
Well, we usually canned it, sold it, or eat it.
There you go.
That was the containers we
That's
put in.
There you go.
I like that container.
That's one way to get rid of it. Say,
Yeah.
it won't keep too long, sausage won't. You've
Mhm.
already bruised it by grinding it.
Yeah.
And so it's not going to keep too
How long will it keep when you can it?
When you can it,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like you can anything else, you keep it a
It'll
long
keep-
time. You
keep a little while,
If you
okay.
can it right, it'll keep in that can for a long time.
I remember seeing my mom put it in a jar and turn the jar upside down.
Right, that's to seal it,
Mhm.
just so the air grease goes down to the bottom, and so
And it seals it, yeah.
it goes up the top. You might say, but the grease has got to be on the bottom too. That
Hey,
seals
Doyle,
it.
did you ever do any of that hog killing?
Well, when I was a real young
Well, when you kill a hog, best thing to
dad and my dad, they did that a time or two. But we had gotten to the point then where we had an ice box, and we could keep some of it a little better by cooling it. And, but we did have the box, and we salted some of it down. But it's been a few years since that happened, so I just, for educational purposes, let the people hear a little more about the hog killing.
You know, PDAB's going to kill one this fall,
It's okay.
or two of them.
Do that where people can actually come and watch and help a little if they wanted to. 'Cause it'd be a good educational thing for young kids, especially.
All right, so anybody wants to kill a hog, just get a hold of PDAB.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Mr. Kelly, thank you for letting me borrow your daughters to play on my basketball team at North Lee, and enjoying the show.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So you're sorghum. Did you ever make sorghum?
Sorghum?
Yeah.
There's no sorghum. It's
Well,
sorghum.
okay.
Get it right, Dad.
I can't spell it or say it, so there you go.
But anyway, yeah, we used to make sorghum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You got to raise the cane.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the old time way, you go in there and pull, after it gets material and the seed become brown, and that's material, you know.
Mhm.
And then you go in there and you strip all the fodder off of it before you cut it down.
Mm-hmm.
Take all the fodder off of it, and you might say leaves off of it,
Mm-hmm.
and bundle them up and bundle them. You feed that to used to feed it to your livestock,
Mhm.
but you can throw it on the ground now. You ain't got no livestock, and so and then we would go in there and cut it down, even with a binder or by hand one, and don't get it dirty, because you're going to take it out and put it in the squeezer, that there machine that squeezes the juice out of it. So if you get it dirty, you can't squeeze it out unless you wash it. You don't have to wash the blame stuff.
No.
And so it runs in a barrel down there. But Daddy, he has, I watched him make it. I never did make none, but I've watched him a lot. And he'd run out of that barrel into he'd have it rigged up some way by elevation and gravity pull that it would run down to his pan. His pan was sloped a little bit, and it run that syrup pan all through them there. It takes a long time to run through there, see. And he'd have the fire hard enough, time he got to the bottom, he'd be done, see. And so he'd just have a continuous, syrup running off there, putting it in jars while he's making syrup.
Did you do beehives?
Never did have no beehives.
To me, I like that honey, but it's just that those bees get in the way.
Well, I had a beehive behind my house one time. It wasn't mine, but it's my neighbor's, and I got honey from it.
Mm-hmm.
I seen online on the computer the other day. This guy has created the beehive now. You go in there and you
got a tap on it.
You turn a little knob there and you put a tap in it, and the honey just runs out like a faucet.
Oh.
I'm sitting there going,
I'm not sure
I could
about
almost
that.
do that now.
It's a new hive. I saw it too.
Yeah.
New style hive.
Honey runs out of it.
Yeah. It's got a little tap. It turns the.
Well, what do the bees think about it?
The bees don't like it.
I would think that the way they had it set up that we saw, I mean, every creature could get down in your honey too. So I thought it was interesting, but not too practical.
Well, you know that skunk would love to come up there and drink out of that jar while that honey's running out.
But don't you like the comb, chewed comb?
The combs,
Yeah, I just don't like.
You
As
run
long-
it that way.
As long as somebody else gets it out and put it in the jar, that's okay. But I don't want to go pull those things out and smoke them and do all that kind of stuff.
Well, they won't sting you. You got a suit on. You got your bee suit on.
Smoking them, yeah.
They can't
Hey.
sting you.
I've ate rattlesnake before too, but I didn't catch it.
You didn't catch it?
No.
And you've eat it?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man.
It tastes just like chicken.
Oh, yeah. You ain't going to convince me of that.
Oh, it did. It really did. It was really good.
I'm going to dislike chicken from now on then.
And I'll just take chicken.
That's what I said. If it tastes just like chicken, just go ahead and give me chicken, though. But
Yeah.
I tried it, and really,
Rattlesnake?
Rattlesnake. It was big old round Texas rattlesnake, and they just cut it up in hunks.
Yeah.
And they put it in a batter, dropped it down in deep fat fryer, pulled it out. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear people eating snakes.
it slides right down.
Not me. I'm not eating no snakes.
I've ate snake. Yeah. I had
And the old devil coming to serve before him.
Yeah.
You know, in the form of a serpent.
That's
The
serpent.
old devil. He come in the form of a serpent then.
Yep.
You ain't want to eat the devil, are you? So why you eat the snakes for?
I was trying to eliminate the devil. I deep fat fry him. He was dead. But now I didn't kill that rattlesnake.
Yeah.
Now this is something.
Well, that's the easy part.
Yeah.
In my orange grove down there in Florida, I had 13 Mexicans pouring out my trees one time. Well, actually, they was making little foundations around them where I could pour water in them and
Right.
not water not run off is
Right.
what they're doing. And I had 13 working for me. One of them started jabbering down there. I couldn't understand what he was saying, but he was saying something. I said, "What's the matter, you?" He started pointing like that, you know. I looked down there and there's a rattlesnake. And it was coiled up, ready to strike. And they wasn't getting half a block from it, just about. I be sure they
Smart men.
They wouldn't even get near close to it. They were most afraid people of the snakes I ever seen in my life. And I just reached over and I got one of the hoes that they were hoeing with. And I said, "Let me have that hoe." And I went down there and I chopped the head of it off. And first lick, I got the head off. And so then the next lick, I got the rattlers off. So I give the rattlers to one of the Mexicans and told them, any of them that wanted the rest of it, they could have the rest of it. But
They didn't grill it up.
huh?
They didn't
no,
grill it.
They didn't take me up on that.
Well, that
One
just-
of them wanted the rattlers, but that's all.
That sort of worries me when those Mexicans wouldn't eat rattlesnake. I shouldn't probably been eating any.
No, they wouldn't even eat it.
So what happened?
But I said, I can't have that thing in the grove with me working at it all the time because that thing will bite me.
And run your Mexicans off.
Well, yeah, probably would. Maybe when they stole my block, too.
So what happened whenever you were growing up? If you got sick or somebody in your family got sick, who'd you call? Or
Who
did
got
you call
sick?
anybody?
When I was real young, nobody. Not very.
So you didn't have a telephone?
I fell a barn loft one time, and no daddy took me to the hospital. Cut my head open. That's the reason I ain't got no sense today.
Ran out, hey?
Yeah. He had to sew my head back up when I fell out that barn loft. On the way down, there's a nail caught me in the head there. Big old long nail.
Uh-huh.
And it split my head open.
That's real
That
good.
was back before. Well, see, they didn't keep me in the hospital. They let me go because they didn't keep nobody in the hospital back then. Like that,
You
know.
came to Cleveland to the hospital?
I was out 3 days without food, water, or anything. Completely out for
Wow.
3 days. But after a while, I was only about 10 years old at that time, you know. And but I came right back.
Was you a little bit more careful in the barn then?
Well, we kids were up in this strange barn sliding off the hay. They
Yeah.
had it full of hay. We was sliding off, and it was a lot of fun when you got to the bottom, you know. I took the other side because that side was had too much traffic. So I slid down the other way, and it was to the feeding manger down to the ground. And so you know where I went. I went through a hole there in that barn where they fed the cows. But there was nails sticking out, and it one of them caught me in the head right back to there.
When did you get your first telephone?
We had a telephone when I was real little. Because, see, I told you that was a hotel for the railroad.
Right.
And it had a telephone in it.
It's modernized.
You know the lightning struck one. You see this advertising about lightning rods, don't you?
Yeah.
That big house had lightning rods on it. One time, it lightning. It burnt them lightning rods off of that house. It burned up all the telephone wire all the way down the road. I'm talking about burnt the wire completely up, all the way down the road. Now, you can't fight lightning. You can put up your lightning rods if you want to, but that lightning can burn them up.
Well, I
And
worked
I'll
at,
say these tin roofs have, too. I'd say that they will draw lightning to a certain extent, because it's metal.
when I worked in the cable business, I can guarantee you there's no way to stop lightning. When it hits it,
No.
it's hit. No matter how much you ground it,
Right.
everything
looking-
down to the ground is burnt. At least.
It's looking for a way to the ground,
That's right.
and it's going to find it.
Yep. Oh, it will, and it'll burn too.
Ron,
Yeah.
I
It
just
just-
wanted to remind everybody that next week we're going to have the Pig Boys on to talk about their dad, Reverend Pig, that worked here in Bradley County for decades, and I'm sure a lot of people will remember him. And also, Fro will be at Pokey's tonight with the Convertibles. Anybody wants to go up there and see them?
All right.
And the Moonshine Festival is June 12th and 13th.
Yes.
And where is it? Etowah?
Savannah
Oh,
Oaks.
Savannah Oaks, that's right.
Yep, right there going to the Mennonite Market on the right.
And what kind of things will they have going on up there, April? Do you know?
40 vendors.
They're supposed to have 40 vendors, and they're wanting to get more bluegrass bands to play. So I know they've already got some lined up. But,
Get with Mountain Cove.
yeah.
They can give them a call and see. Those boys are getting busy. They're getting real busy. They're really good. We enjoyed them being in here last week, and they're just fine boys, too.
They can pick.
I think they're going to have some demonstrations on making stills from Dixie Queen Stills that's up
Right.
in Etowah. I think they'll be there doing some demonstrations as well. We'll be there, maybe.
Well, guys, that's just about it. Mr. Kelly, thank you for coming in today. You have any last comments that you want to share with the people?
The dozens of people that are listening.
Can't really think of any.
Well, we do appreciate you being here.
Well, I
And our
appreciate it.
listeners certainly enjoy somebody that can talk about a different day and time.
Yeah, I could tell you a lot of stories.
Well, we may have to
I
get you to
still
come
got
back
a bunch
sometime.
He didn't tell a thing about going to Walmart.
No. But, you know.
That's all the young people now go to Walmart. You get all your groceries from Walmart.
They
The
don't,
milk
and
comes from
Kids
Walmart.
don't know that carrots come out of the ground.
No, it comes from Walmart.
Yeah, that comes from Walmart.
Yeah.
They don't know you got to
Well-
eat peanuts.
Huh?
No,
They
they
don't
don't realize.
grow in the ground.
They think they
Yeah,
grow on
that's-
trees.
That's like I walk in some grocery stores today. I said, look at all that good food down through there. And I got the money to buy it. That's what's good about it.
That's what's good about
It
it.
is.
Yeah.
Because there was a day and time where you couldn't do that.
Day and time you couldn't find the food, let alone buy it.
And if people want strawberries,
It's different from what it used to be a long time
Come to
ago.
his place and pick them. pull
Yeah.
in his driveway, and he prefers. Do you care if they pick on Sunday, or would you rather them just pick Monday through Saturday?
No, I don't want to pick on Sunday.
Yep, just Monday through Saturday, sun up to sundown.
I got they're like I say, they're going out. So, but you better hurry if you want any of them.
Yep.
They're $2 a cup, quart size cup.
You got it.
And you pick them.
And it's
What
different.
you can find.
Yeah.
There's plenty of plants
There
in there.
used to be plenty of strawberries in there. There's still a lot of strawberries in there, but not plentiful. Like
Okay, now last, are they good strawberries?
Yeah,
They are.
That's Mr. Haney there. He-
Mr.
I didn't
Mr.
expect you to say
Haney, oh
anything
my.
but that, but
Yeah.
you know.
They just don't last long. Either you got to eat them or
They
cook
will
them.
not keep. They're not a
They
good
won't keep.
keeper.
Yeah, they're not store bought berries.
Yeah.
They're not picked green or ripe on the way.
That's right.
These are ripe when you pick them.
They're ready to
Yeah.
Ready to eat. Ready
Yeah.
to eat.
Well, I usually don't have a problem. Usually when I get them, they're pretty well gone, you know.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, folks. It's time for us to sign off. We'd like to thank Bird Dog and JR's girl for inviting Mr. Kelly on, and we would like for other people to bring on their relatives and their neighbors, and this is one of our favorite shows. We've got one last call, and then we're going to sign off.
Go ahead, caller.
Hello.
Hello, go ahead.
You're live on the air.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I was just wondering where is the location to pick the strawberries.
Okay.
You hear that?
April, tell them how to get to.
Turn off at Fish Creek Market on North Lee Highway. Take a right there. That's a Tasso Lane. Go over to just before you get to the railroad tracks, across from Tasso
United Methodist Church.
It's a mile and a half from Highway 11 to Old Charleston Road. It's a mile and a half.
And you'll take a left on
Old Charleston.
Old Charleston Road, and you'll see his greenhouses up on the left.
And he's got a sign up that says strawberries for sale.
Yeah.
Right. You can't miss it.
Great.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you. Well, there's one customer, James.
Okay.
Now you're going to have to pick strawberries. Watch people pick strawberries. this
Well-
afternoon. And it is pick your own.
Right.
We tell everybody every week that you need to talk to your grandfathers and your fathers and your aunts and your uncles and start writing these stories down, because when they're gone, the history's gone. Go find those pictures in the drawers, get a little white label and write down who's in the pictures and what happened at that picture. Share those pictures with people, and there'll be history. I'm afraid that history's going to disappear because we don't take pictures with cameras anymore. We take them with our phones, and they're never printed anywhere. So we may lose a lot of this. So it's our job to keep history. And Deb will always remember about Pearl Harbor, but
Will we remember Aunt Pearl? See you guys next
I
week.
don't
Bye bye.
know. We'll see you next week here on Old Town Cleveland. The pigs will be here.
Where'd the old town go? They moved it on north of here in a shopping mall. Ooh, where'd the old town go? Did my hometown get old, or just me? Did all my friends get old, or just me? Are they all gonna have to be told, or just me?
You are listening to WOOP-LP, Cleveland, Tennessee. Whoop FM is a broadcasting service of the Traditional Music Resource Center, and we play America's original music.
Check into cash.
The cash you need is closer than you think.
Get an auto title loan today for up to $2,500 at Check Into Cash.
You drive home with the cash in your pocket.
Visit Check Into Cash for an auto title loan today, or get a payday advance for up to $425. Call toll-free 877-262